Halfmilesniper here, and today we're back in the garage because we still can't get to the range. They're doing some lead mining. So we're going to check to see if the 270 brass that Randy A sent is going to fit in my rifle. So y'all sit back, kick your feet up, enjoy the ride. Alrighty, y'all. Well, it's another lead mining time at the range, so can't go shooting. And since I can't go shooting, I guess that means I gotta do something else. So last time out, we looked at the 270 brass that Randy A sent. Thank you so much for that. We got it cleaned up mostly, and now we're going to see if it fits in my rifle. So my rifle here, this is the Winchester Model 70 that I bought over 40 years ago. Put a lot of rounds through it. And this is the one that had the heavy copper fouling in the bore. It shoots just fine now that I've scrubbed it clean and got a proper base layer of copper down. So I've shot a lot of factory ammo through this. I've shot a lot of hand loads through this. And now we're going to see if any of the 270 brass that Randy sent is going to even function in this action, or if we're going to have to work it. What I do know is the brass that had been reloaded, Randy said was only neck sized. So I suspect very few pieces of brass are going to function in this action. So what I'll do today is I'm going to randomly grab a couple of pieces of brass. I have not pulled the ejector or the extractor because I'm not trying to see how smoothly the bolt will close. I'm just trying to see if we can get the bolt to even start to close. So we'll grab one of these pieces here, drop it in. This is a unloaded weapon. Let's do this real quick. Let me pop this piece of brass out. We'll put the safety on half cock, which will allow us to run the bolt, but the trigger will not function. So it's at the midpoint on the safety. First piece of brass goes in, and we are tight right there. And I cannot close the bolt. So that is either a piece of brass that is way too long or way too big. We'll grab another one. That one closes most of the way, but really, really tight. And we'll grab one more just for giggles. We'll try this one. The first two we pulled were both, well, one was a Federal, one was a Remington, and the third one here is a Winchester. Oof. That was way tight. You know what? I think I'll go get my bore scope and we'll take a look down the bore and see how tight into the throat that case neck is. Let me go get that bore scope. Okay, well we've got the bore scope connected to the phone, and bear in mind I have not cleaned this rifle since the last time I shot it for a group after getting it all scrubbed clean, so it's got a little bit of dirt and a little bit of carbon and just the right amount of copper. But what we're looking at here is we want to see how that case is looking right up in the throat here. Interesting. It's jammed right up, not up against the corner, but right up against the burn. So, let me open this up a little bit. And unlocking it pulled that back. So I'm not sure. I don't think that's necessarily binding at the neck. But we'll so while I don't think it's binding at the neck, we'll take some measurements of the case and see what we have. It's possible that the body is expanded too much for this chamber. It could be the neck is expanded a little bit too much for the chamber. It could be the overall length of the case is a little bit too long. Could be the shoulder needs to be bumped back. So we'll take some measurements and we'll see how things look. So give me a minute. We'll put the camera away here now and get our measuring devices and check a few things out. Well, now that we got a quick look at the throat here where the cases are meeting up to the end of the chamber, it's very curious. We'll see what they measure out at here. So I got my measuring device. Let's zero it. And our case body, first case here, which is the Winchester that I just pulled out of the chamber, is measuring 0.469. The Federal case that we checked first is measuring 0.470. And the Remington is 0.468. So those bodies are a little bit bigger around than I think they should be. Let's check some overall length. 2.533, 2.539, 2.536. Now, 270 brass, the minimum trim length is 2.530. So all of these are just slightly longer than the trim 2 length, but they've not been resized yet. When we resize them, they're going to grow. We'll see how much they grow, and then we'll know how much we have to trim off. Before we get to doing any resizing and any trimming and any other checking, let's just real quick take a look at the shoulder length. Get that zeroed up a little bit better. Okay, we are zeroed. 2.089, 2.087, 2.086. So 9, 7, and 6, and that was the Winchester case, the Federal case, the Remington case. Okay, give me a minute. I'm going to go get my press set up. I'm going to resize a couple of pieces of brass, and then we'll check them for dimension of the base of the case, dimension of the overall length, and the final measurement there, the shoulder, And we'll measure it with the same comparator, so we're hitting at the same spot. We'll see if anything really changes. Well, it's been a few minutes, so what I did was I only worked 2 pieces of brass here. The 2 worst, which was the Winchester and the Federal. So right off the bat, we knew we were 2.089 and 2.087. So the Federal was 2.087, and now our shoulder dimension reads 2.085. So we bumped back 0.02 of an inch. And our Winchester, 2.0855. So we bumped it back a little bit further. Let's double check a couple of the other dimensions here. Re-zero. The base of our case, 0.458. Let's measure the other one, 0.458. Very good. And once again, grabbing another piece of the unprocessed brass, we measure 0.464. So we shrunk the brass in diameter. Now let's see what we did with the length. And as we recall, these were all 2.53 and change, when 2.530 is the minimum trim to length. Now that they've been resized, this piece of brass, which is the Winchester, measures in at 2.555. And the Federal, 2.555. So that brass grew quite a bit. Let's see if they chamber any better. Oh, chamber's so nice and smooth. Let's check the other one. Nice. Very good. So those chamber and those close, and I could probably leave them right there at that length. But I'm not going to, because starting from scratch here, I'm going to run them down to the minimum trim length and let them grow in on their own. That way everything's starting at the same dimension. Let me go trim a piece and we'll bring it back and see how it goes. Very good. We took that piece of Federal brass, set up my hand lathe, and we just put the 27 caliber mandrel in, and we trimmed it to 2.5305. So, just double checking. Oh yeah, that chamber's smooth. The bolt closes smooth. What we will do now is we will resize all this brass. We'll trim it to length, and then we're going to run it through the dry tumbler and clean it up one more time, and it will be ready to load and be used in my 270. Well, there we have it. Just a real quick video on whether or not I would be able to use this brass just cleaned and ready to go, or if I was going to have to work it. My rifle has said that, yep, I'm going to have to work it. That's okay. It's 50 pieces of brass. Won't take that long. We'll get it sized and trimmed, cleaned up, and then we'll go ahead and we'll load some up, and we'll use some of the 130 grain Sierra bullets that Randy sent, and I found a couple of 110 grain solid copper TSX, Barnes TSX bullets I didn't realize I had. So I will probably load some deer hunting 270 ammo with it too. Cool. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for hanging with me, and liking and subscribing and commenting, and I really appreciate it. Y'all are a great group of people. You make it worth it for me to get up here in front of the camera and go blah, blah, blah. Thank you. And as always, I want to remind y'all, stay strapped or get clapped. Carry everywhere you can. Get a CCW if you need one. If you're in a constitutional carry state, which according to what I just heard on the news this morning, we may be looking at number 28 coming on board here pretty soon. Compliments of Louisiana getting a Republican governor. Thank you, Louisiana. But if you're in a constitutional carry state, I'd get a CCW anyways. You may travel. Not everybody acknowledges constitutional carry yet. Hopefully it'll be the law of the land one of these days like it should be. But with all that being said, I want to thank y'all for hanging with me. And as always, this is Halfmilesniper reminding you, stay safe, keep shooting. We'll catch you next time.
Send it. Hit.